Oh hey, you're awake. Don't mind me, I'm just going around the neighbourhood telling everyone about this great game. Here, I made a video about it. No, don't get up, stay where you are. Birth recently-ish came out on February 17th of last year. It's a really chill, mildly unsettling puzzle game that tells the tale of a lonely creature who wants to build a partner. You know, with bones and organs and stuff. In order to collect the body parts you'll need, you go around the city solving puzzles and helping other creatures out. It's a point-and-click kind of game that plays remarkably well on a drawing tablet when you're procrastinating. The game was made by Madison Karrh, who's really cool. Her previous games are very similar and also involve collecting puzzle stuff. Each game has its own message it wants to get across. They can be a bit too relatable at times. They all feature these unique creatures, coming in the forms of skeletons, ghosts, dead animals, and hipsters. While Birth is entirely a puzzle game, I think the aesthetic is definitely the main draw. I don't even have any complaints about that though, the aesthetic's awesome. Almost every person and animal in the game has a skull for a face and seems to like blood, but each has their own little twist, like extra eyes, or antlers, or cute deer ears. They're all really nice to look at, and the profile pic opportunities are plentiful. The puzzles themselves are really quite satisfying and fun, if mildly infuriating if you have brain rot like I do. The sound effects tickle my brain. While the music is relaxing, it has just a little bit of a creepy vibe to it that matches the visuals really well. The soundtrack uses classical music pieces to give a feeling of familiarity, but also a sense of not quite knowing where you've heard that tune before. It's all just a really enjoyable experience. You create your character at the start of the game, and while the options are fairly limited, it gives a great introduction to the cool art style. The story is a simple one. Your character is lonely and sad because they live in a city. They want a partner to be lonely together with, so they decide to build one. You go through the game solving puzzles and collecting body parts in order to Frankenstein a familiar, making brief connections with other people along the way. The puzzles lead you to loads of different unique characters, and I think through this journey your character isn't quite as lonely anymore. Aww. The actual character designs are really interesting, and it's honestly so fun to discover new areas just so you can see who you come across next. The puzzles use physics quite a lot, and are really fun to play around with. There are basically no consequences for anything, so you can mess everything up as much as you want and just press restart whenever. Also, there are these secret puzzles dotted around the place that give you access to cute little interactive things that you can play around with, like Ant Simulator and this cool letter. And drawing! It has no effect on the game, but the community page is thriving because of it. The game has quite a high focus on bones and organs, which would usually make me a bit uncomfortable, but thankfully, since it's all hand-drawn, it's not so bad to look at. It makes them look almost pretty, actually. It only takes a couple of hours to complete, and there's only 7 achievements, which are fairly easy to obtain. Yes! So it's a fun way to spend an evening. It doesn't really have much replayability, unless you maybe play it in a year's time when you've forgotten all the puzzles, or maybe in a matter of weeks if you have sieve brain like me. Also, quick side tangent. Madison created another game long ago, called Hello World. I think the title is in reference to a programming thing where students first learning the language practice by programming a simple screen that pops up and says, "Hello world." It's also used to do something called a sanity check on a computer, and I think Madison may occasionally need one of those every so often too. She seems to be a little self-deprecating about the game, so I decided to play this one too. It took me a while to open, since it involved files and stuff, and despite having grown up with them from like age 6, I still don't know how computers work. Once I got the game running, I ran into a new problem. That being my massive monitor not really being able to accommodate this game. I use a TV as my screen because I don't have a proper monitor and it means I can game in bed, but the aspect ratio can get a bit funky because of it. So I couldn't read any of the menus or UI. That wouldn't really be a problem in a game like Birth, but this is Hello World. Text boxes galore. I tried my best to play, but without the option to interact with objects, it was basically impossible. I went exploring and made guesses at what buttons might do, but it was a bit of a difficult experience. It was really interesting to see the startings of the iconic Karrh style though, with skull creatures and a certain vibe I can't quite put into words. I really liked the menus too. Tangent over. If you don't want spoilers for the end of Birth, then go away now, please.
Marceline, cover your ears!
After you've spent time collecting body parts and trading dead fish for coins from birds and stuff, you can finally start crafting your new hot babe. There's some customization, not as much as I hoped there would be, but whatever. And once you're finished, you see a cute little scene of the two of you cuddled up on the couch. So now the game has ended and it's all cute and nice, but you might happen to spot a little box tucked away on the other side of the room. When you open it, you see pictures of your new partner being made. Very cool. But there are more pictures after them, of a different person. One that looks a little familiar. Then another, and you realise all those people you came across in the story were actually created by your character. Dun dun dun. Now, I think there are two different ways to interpret this. One is the bleak realisation that every partner you make leaves you, and it's probably only a matter of time before this new one does too. Then you'll end up seeing them briefly in a puzzle to collect new bones next time around. It's a bit of a sad message. If it is this version though, I think it would be super cool if every time you restarted the game, your previous partner would just show up somewhere, even just in the background or something. That would be very neat, I think. The other way to take this is your character is some sort of god who created all life in this universe/city. Begging the question, did they make themselves? And who started this cycle? Is this just how their species reproduces? No, it's fine, I'm complying.
How many more of these creatures?
Buy it on Steam!
Did they build the city themselves? Or are they just
Hey, have you guys heard of this
after
game?
the previous
It's called
residences
Birth.
disappeared or died off? Or maybe were killed